What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which is absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,000 just yesterday, and another member who won $900 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to PJ Cummings 7517 who said boy you the goat, and also shouts out to Goodnight 1615 who said let's go, and shouts out to Tommy S6R who said liberty at full strength. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Jordan Canada, and this one is for 13.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Jordan Canada, we actually have seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and this one's a fantastic one. Now looking at on July 8th, we actually did see Jordan have 7 points against Golden State Valkyries. Then on July 12th, faced off against Indiana, had 30 points there. Then 12 points against New York Liberty on July 14th. Faced off against Chicago next after that, and that was actually on July 17th where she had 7 points. Then 12 points against Las Vegas Aces on July 23rd. So we definitely have seen, Jordan Canada do pretty poorly over the last 5 games when it comes to, her line. Now her average over the last 5 is also 13.6. Now, a big reason why her average over the last 5 is still somewhat, near her line is due to the fact of her 30-point game against Indiana Fever. But we do believe that that game has definitely brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. Now looking at Jordan Canada and Atlanta Dream, we do know that they face off against Phoenix Mercury. Now, just to also let you know, this is the only game in the WNBA for today, so a lot of the picks are going to be from this exact same game. But looking at Atlanta Dream and Phoenix Mercury and where they do rank defensively and also, ranking wise, starting off with Atlanta Dream ranking wise, we do know that they actually rank 5th in the WNBA. They have a record of 13 wins and 10 losses. So that's a 56.5% win percentage. On top of that, they are 8-3 at home, 5-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, looking at the other side of things, we also see that Phoenix Mercury currently rank 3rd in the WNBA. Now, they have a record of 15 wins and 7 losses. That's a 68.2% win percentage. Now, they are 9-3 in home from, the home games, and then 6-4 from away games, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak as well. So it's definitely been, for Dream and Mercury, they have had some pretty great games, which is why they find themselves both in the top 5 at least. Now looking at Phoenix Mercury defensively, obviously we are looking at points and looking at where Phoenix Mercury do rank points wise. We do see Phoenix Mercury ranking 5th when it comes to points allowed. So that's definitely pretty decent. I would say that is more of the higher mid tier than anything. But when you look at Phoenix Mercury, what we also do see is that they do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We are expecting Phoenix Mercury to really come out and show out defensively, especially against someone like Jordan Canada. Now, where Jordan definitely will struggle is due to the fact that not only is she expected to have a lot of intense defense on her, but on top of that, what we also do know is that, Phoenix Mercury are also facing off against Jordan Canada, where Canada has also had, very, very low usage rate as of lately. You definitely see over the last 5 games, like we've mentioned before, she's gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5. That's a big, big reason why we do also like the under for this one. Jordan's usage rate has definitely been on the lower side. She has been on a little bit of a cold streak, and we are expecting that to continue on into this next game, no doubt about it. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for this situation here. So keep an eye out for Jordan Canada in this one. Jordan Canada, 13.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Alicia Gray. So Alicia Gray, great player, and this one is for 16.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Alicia Gray, we actually have, seen Alicia go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on July 12th, faced off against Indiana, had 6 points there. July 14th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 16 points. Then July 17th, faced off against Chicago, had 14 points. Then 18 points actually in that All-Star game, but we won't take that into consideration. And then on July 23rd, faced off against Las Vegas Aces and had 24 points there. So when we look at it, she has gone on the under in 3 out of the 4 games. Now we aren't including that All-Star matchup, but looking at this matchup, we do know Atlanta face off against Phoenix. Now we did just recently talk about the ranking, but just to reiterate again, Atlanta Dream, they rank 5th in the WNBA, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So I think that's definitely, another big thing to know. And then Mercury on the other side also ranks 2nd in the Western Conference, however, but they rank 3rd overall in the WNBA. Now, looking at, Phoenix Mercury, we do know defensively when it comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 5th. And on top of that, as we've mentioned before, we do know that, Alicia Gray is a guard. So similar to the pick with Jordan Canada as well. Jordan Canada was a guard. Alicia Gray is a guard. We do know Phoenix Mercury do a fantastic job against guards, and that's why we definitely like the under for this one. Now, Alicia Gray is in a similar boat as Jordan Canada, as her usage rate has definitely been much, much lower. Yes, she did have a big game actually against, Las Vegas Aces, but we definitely see that as a little bit more of an actual, sort of outlier type matchup, as, Las Vegas Aces are a pretty poor defensive team. So we actually have seen when, Alicia Gray does face off against much tougher matchups defensively, she definitely does struggle. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Alicia Gray. So definitely keep an eye out for it there. So Alicia Gray, 16.5 points. When you also look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favorite for the under as well. So Alicia Gray, 16.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another player, and that is none other than Sammy Whitam. So Sammy Whitam, great player from none other than actually Phoenix Mercury. As I mentioned before, this is the only game, but this one is for 9.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Sammy Whitam, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, this one's an interesting one because we do actually see that, July 4th faced off against Dallas Wings, actually had 3 points there. July 8th faced off against Dallas Wings again, had 36 points. Then faced off against Minnesota, had 10 points in July 10th. July 15th faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had 7 points, and then 9 points against Minnesota on July 17th. So we actually have seen Sammy Whitam go on the under in 3 out of the last 5, as we've mentioned. And as we all know, her average over the last 5 is sitting at around 13. Now, looking more in depth at this, we do know Sammy Whitam is playing for Phoenix, and they do face off against Atlanta. Now, we have already touched on this matchup already. But just to remind you all again with the matchup, we do know Atlanta Dream ranked 5th in the WNBA, Phoenix Mercury ranked 3rd. Now, looking at the last 10 games, we see that Atlanta Dream over the last 10 actually have a record of 4-6 as well. So it's definitely something to be, nary about. And then also against Phoenix Mercury, where Phoenix Mercury over the last 10 actually have a record of 7-3. So there it is when it comes to, you know, Sammy Whitam and their rankings. But looking at Atlanta Dream and where they do rank defensively when it comes to points, we actually see that Atlanta Dream do rank 4th when it comes to points allowed. So this one's kind of a no-brainer to us. So this is a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here. We definitely have seen Sammy Whitam do a great job at times, but coming into a matchup against Atlanta, where Atlanta not only just do a fantastic job at restricting points, but also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position, and with Sammy Whitam having a lower usage rate, all signs really do point towards the under for this one, and that's why we are sticking to it there. So for that reason, Sammy Whitam 9.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Alright, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player going to be talking about is none other than actually Naz Hillman. Now, as you all know, Naz Hillman, great player for none other than Atlanta Dream, and she has done a fantastic job so far this season because we've actually seen her average 7.3 points, 5 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and also 0.5 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Atlanta Dream face off against, you know, none other than Phoenix Mercury. Now, this is the only game for today, so that's why you are seeing a lot of, you know, overlap between all of these players. But looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with Dream, we do know that they come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA, and they have a record of 13 wins and 10 losses. Now, when it comes to their conference, they do actually rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference, so that's interesting there. But they do have a 56.5% win percentage. They're also 8-3 from home and 5-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit, you know, tough for Atlanta Dream in a sense over the last, I would say, away games, as they don't really have the best record there, but they are looking to definitely continue to try to get more wins under their belt. Now, when we look at Phoenix Mercury have actually done a little bit better. They do find themselves, Phoenix, at the 3rd spot in the WNBA, but also ranked 2nd in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 15 wins, and 7 losses. That's a 68.2% win percentage. They are 9-3 at home, 6-4 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been pretty interesting coming into this game, because we do actually see, when it comes to Phoenix Mercury, we do see that they have had a very good record, you know, over the last couple of games. As their last 10 games, they actually have a record of 7-3 as well. So Phoenix Mercury have been on a little bit of a hot streak. Now, looking at Phoenix Mercury defensively, obviously we are looking at Naz Hillman's actual stats and lines, and looking at where Phoenix Mercury do rank, we do see them rank 5th in points allowed. They do actually rank 7th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also see Phoenix rank 10th. So it is very interesting to see there. We actually have seen, you know, Phoenix rank pretty mid-tier in all 3 categories. Now, coming into this next matchup, we do very much, you know, like the over for someone like Naz. Now, although Naz doesn't have the highest usage rate in this roster, we still definitely are expecting her to go on the over in this situation. Now, a big reason being is that when we look at Phoenix Mercury, they actually do a very poor job at restricting, you know, points, rebounds, and assists to the second unit. But on top of Phoenix also not doing a great job against the second unit, they also do a very poor job at restricting PRA, or points, rebounds, and assists, to the forward position as well. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for someone like Naz. We definitely see her being able to do a very good job coming into this game. Now, looking at her last 5 games, she's definitely had some pretty big matchups. We do see against Golden State Valkyries on the 8th, actually had a 90-81 victory. Now, she actually had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, faced off against Indiana Fever, had a 99-82 loss with 3 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 14th, faced off against New York Liberty, had a 79-72 loss, actually had 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Now, when we look at Chicago Sky, we do actually see that she is actually faced off against them, having an 86-49 victory, and had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had an 87-72 loss with 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it's definitely been interesting to see. Now, looking at Naz, we actually do know that she actually does do pretty well, especially against teams that are poor defensively. We have seen Naz be able to take advantage of that, and that's what we are expecting in this next game, no doubt about it. So although Phoenix are a great team, when you look at them defensively, they definitely do struggle, and that's why we do very much like the over for someone like Naz Hillman. Now, I wouldn't really say you need to focus on any of the lines. I definitely think she has a capability to go on the over in all three categories. However, I do need to mention that when it comes to her assists, she is or has a little bit of a lower usage rate in that department, so we are expecting more likely a line would come out for points and rebounds. But either way, I see a lot of value in all three categories, so definitely keep an eye out for it there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Katherine Westbell. So as you all know, Katherine Westbell, great player for Phoenix Mercury. Now, she has done a fantastic job averaging 7 points, 3.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 1.1 steals. So she's definitely done a great job there. Now, looking at Katherine against Phoenix Mercury, it's definitely going to be an exciting game. But what we also do see is that when it comes to this matchup, we do also notice that, they face off against Atlanta. Now, just to remind you real quickly about where both of them rank, Atlanta ranked 5th in WNBA, while Phoenix Mercury ranked 3rd. But when you look at the last 10 games, you also do see that Atlanta Dream have a record over the last 10, so there's only the last 10 games, have a record of 4-6. So they don't actually have a winning record in the last 10 games, while Phoenix Mercury have been doing really well as they have a record of 7-3 over the last 10 games. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Phoenix Mercury face off against Atlanta, and now looking at Atlanta Dream defensively, we do know that they rank 4th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 3rd when it comes to assists allowed, and 3rd when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Atlanta Dream have that 5th spot in the WNBA, and they have that for a reason, and their defense has definitely been helping them out. They've been a great defensive team, and on top of that, not only have they done a great job defensively, but we also have seen that when it comes to Atlanta Dream, we have seen them do a fantastic job at slowing down faster-paced teams. Now, Phoenix Mercury tend to play fast, but we are expecting in this matchup Atlanta to try to slow down the pace and slow it down as much as they can. And because of that, less volume means a less opportunity for someone like Katherine Westbell to be able to score, rebound, or even play make. So that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at Katherine against, this matchup, we do also want to look at Katherine over the last 5 games. She's played some back-to-backs or some close matchups, and we actually have seen her start off in the last 5 against Dallas Wings on the 4th. Actually had a 98-89 loss with 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 8th, faced off against Dallas, had a 102-72 win, had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then against Minnesota, faced off again on the 10th, had a 79-71 victory with 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against Golden State Valkyries on the 15th, had a 78-77 victory with 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Then against Minnesota on the 17th, had a 79-66 loss with 3 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So we definitely have seen Katherine Westbell, do very well in some games. Other games not really do too well. But coming into this matchup against a team like Atlanta, we are expecting the under for this one. We have seen Katherine, when you look at the last 5 games, the games that she does do well on is definitely against much easier defensive teams. Unfortunately, no disrespect to her, we definitely tend to see her actually struggle against, great defensive matchups like Minnesota Lynx, as we've seen, and that's what we are expecting coming into this game. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely see her going under a line, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists, no matter there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Tahena Papo. Now, as you all know, Tahena, great player for Atlanta Dream, has actually averaged 5.3 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. So she's done a great job in her rookie campaign, and we actually have seen her not just do a fantastic job, but definitely been a great and integral part to the team. Now, just to remind you all again, Atlanta Dream face off against Phoenix Mercury, as we've mentioned. And looking at that matchup, we do know Atlanta Dream do actually have the 5th spot in the WNBA, have a record of 13 wins and 10 losses, but also ranked 2nd in the Eastern Conference. And they face off against Phoenix Mercury, who rank 3rd in the WNBA, but also ranked 2nd in the Western Conference, with a record of 15 wins and 7 losses. So that's a 68.2% win percentage there. So it's definitely been interesting to see. Now looking at, Tahena, we have seen her do a great job, and looking at where, a team like Phoenix Mercury do rank defensively. As we mentioned before, just to reiterate, they do actually rank 5th in points allowed when it comes to assists allowed. We also do know that Mercury ranks 7th, and then rebounds allowed also rank pretty low as a rank 10th. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now looking at this matchup, or this next matchup, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here. Now a big reason for this is that when it comes to Tahena, although she is a great player, we definitely have seen her usage rate be very, very unpredictable. And a big reason for that is that she is a rookie, and we actually have seen Atlanta Dream, play her in some instances, don't play in some instances, and because of that, we do very much like the under. What we tend to see from Tahena is that when it is a blowout game, then you will see her play minutes, but if it is a close matchup, which is what we are expecting from this game, we are expecting Tahena to spend a lot of time on the bench because of it. So when you look at the last 5 games, it's definitely very evident. You do see on the 8th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 90-81 victory, which was great, but she only had 8 minutes of game time and had 0 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist there. Then on the 12th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had a 99-82 loss, had 5 minutes of game time and had 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then faced off against New York Liberty, had a 79-72 loss with 3 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists there. Then faced off on the 17th against Chicago, had an 86-49 victory with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists there. After that, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had an 87-72 loss with 5 points, 0 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So it's definitely been interesting in that sense. We actually have seen, Tahena do a great job at times. But what we also have seen over the last couple of, matchups is also Tahena, her usage rate and her minutes out there has definitely been very unpredictable. So coming into this next matchup, we are expecting her to get, the usage rate out there that she wants, and also the minutes out there, which definitely could affect her line. And that's why we do like the under for this situation here.